Welcome to Less is the New More, where a dietitian and a mental health therapist walk into a podcast and try figuring out a pattern that people, including us, keep chasing. More health, more productivity, more control, so on and so on. Yet when we still get it, it still doesn't feel like it's enough.
More likes, more snacks, more steps, more self-improvement books. I'm Kate Meza, licensed clinical social worker, a mental health therapist dedicated to identifying strengths and solutions instead of concentrating on problems. Today we're talking about Scarcity Brain, the book and podcast by Michael Easter, and how his work connects to your wellness goals, from the brain to infinity and beyond. We will explore the mind-gut connection today and what scarcity means for those we see and for us personally.
Beautiful. Thank you, Kate. And I'm Donna Roy, and my identity statements are registered dietitian, former chronic overdoer, and current student of abundance. So let's go over what Scarcity Brain is. Michael Easter, in his book and podcast, describes it as an evolutionary hangover of sorts. Our brains are wired to crave more, to hoard, and to chase novelty. That helped us survive scarcity thousands of years ago, when it was really happening. You know, finding a new habitat, finding food, a variety of different things. But now, it just keeps us scrolling and snacking. This part of our brain just has not evolved as fast as other parts of us have.
Exactly. The same instincts that told our ancestors, grab those berries before winter, or buy 3 because they're on sale, or check your email again. Maybe there's something we missed.
Right. And it's not just about stuff. It's about things like time, validation, security, food, anything that's going to give us a quick hit of dopamine. The brain's reward system just hasn't caught up to Costco.
Costco Brain? Hey, that could be a sequel title. So I'd like to explain my understanding of Scarcity Brain. Scarcity Brain refers to the mental state that occurs when we feel we don't have enough, whether it's time, money, energy, or emotional resources. This sense of lack narrows our focus, heightens stress, and can lead to short-term, impulsive decisions instead of thoughtful, long-term choices.
Right, but seriously, this scarcity wiring drives so many of our struggles with wellness and health goals. Okay, and just good feeling overall. We think if we just had more willpower, if we had more motivation, we would eat better, we'd sleep better, we'd function better. But the truth is, our brains are currently overstimulated and undersatisfied.
Exactly. What's so interesting is that Scarcity Brain actually keeps our nervous system on high alert. Even when we have more than enough, our brain is stuck hunting for more.
Right. My nervous system's out here right now, acting like the Wi-Fi is down and we're about ready to starve and never have food again.
Exactly. And from a mental health standpoint, scarcity thinking often starts early. Attachment experiences, trauma, or repeated messages that you're not enough. And then it shows up in adulthood with scarcity thinking anxiety, overwork, perfectionism, and feeling run down. When someone's stuck in scarcity brain, overworking, never feeling like they've done enough, that's not just a thought pattern. It shows up in the whole nervous system.
Right. And that's so true, Kate, because the gut is just one example of an area of our nervous system where we see that stress show up. It's nothing complicated, really. It's just the simple fact that when your brain feels like it doesn't feel safe out there, the digestion slows down, the appetite signals get wonky. That stress hormones like cortisol make it really hard to practice wellness, especially weight loss. And I've noticed a lot of my clients, cortisol builds up significantly under stress.
Right? Yes, and it's the same for myself. So people feel tired, tense, or off with their eating because it's really that stress response driving things.
Absolutely. So, which is why we focus on helping the body feel safe again. Okay, so we want to try doing slower meals. We want to try taking a breath before eating or doing a potentially stressful task. Multitasking, less of it, that is. It's not a diet thing. It's a nervous system thing overall. And yet, the gut keeps score. When we're stuck in the scarcity mindset, skipping meals, over-restricting, starting over and over, the body remembers this. It shifts into protection mode. It hangs onto its energy and craving quick fixes. So when we're feeding it consistently and kindly, that's when trust and balance start to rebuild. Abundance flourishes.
What's interesting from a therapy perspective is how scarcity actually keeps our nervous system on high alert. Even when we have more than enough, our brain is stuck scanning for what we don't have. Part of what I help clients with in therapy is noticing these internalized messages and learning to respond instead of react. We'll talk about this more in future shows too.
Yeah, and let's be honest, Kate, we both fall into the scarcity mode. I mean, just before we started recording our podcast, I remembered that my phone was still on. I'm thinking, okay, am I keeping the phone on so I can get a call or a text? I'm recording. See, that's an example of that multitasking that our brains are trying to do. So it's so hard to get out of scarcity that way. It is challenging.
Totally. And I catch myself spending an hour or even a few hours scrolling on my phone instead of actually resting, like I told myself I would do. So I see clients who are stressed, anxious, depressed, and overextended, which negatively impacts what people put in their bodies, right? And how that's digested, what we call the brain-gut connection. So I have a question for you, Donna. This is getting kind of personal.
I'm ready.
How often are your food choices driven by true hunger versus a fear of not having enough later?
I'm going to say at least 50% of the time, if not more. Because what I'm thinking about is the end of the day. I'm thinking about the 5 o'clock hour. And it's still a few hours away, but yet in my mind, I'm going, ooh, well, I want to make sure that I'm not too hungry when I'm done with my work. So I think I'm just going to need to just stuff myself and eat more and not pay as much attention to whether or not I'm really hungry. That happens more often than I would want it to. But now I'm realizing that that's part of my scarcity brain telling me, oh, Donna, you don't want to run out. You want to make sure that you're plenty full.
Yep, I caught myself before this doing exactly the same thing. I wanted to show up here and it's late at night, so I found myself eating even though I wasn't hungry.
Exactly, yes. And so what other areas of your life do you notice your scarcity showing up besides that, Kate?
Yeah, so I gave this a little bit of thought, and I've noticed it in a few areas, but specifically with self-care, I think I'll plug in time into my schedule to give myself self-care, like maybe I want a hot tub, or maybe it's I'm jumping on my exercise bike. But I notice I'm pushing that aside, and it's being replaced with other things like my work or, a call I needed to make. And I'm not doing it because what is it? The fear of not showing up in some way, which is scarcity brain.
Absolutely. The fear of missing out on something, the fear of something important is whizzing right past you, and you're not going to be able to catch it.
Exactly.
Yeah. And Michael Easter talks about this. It's called the scarcity loop. It's that endless cycle. You have this opportunity you're thinking about. You have this unpredictable award. You're just not sure, but you're thinking, oh, it's out there somewhere, right? And you're constantly striving for it, and then a quick repeat over and over again. It's the same loop that drives us to the social media, doom scrolling and whatever we decide to want to do there, slot machine usage, and especially snack cravings late at night.
Guilty, right? It's a dopamine trap. Our brains love that hit of maybe. Maybe I'll find the perfect recipe. Maybe the next scroll will change my life. Maybe the universe will reveal itself if I just swipe one more time. It's fascinating how what feels like personal struggle is also shaped by cultural pressures. How do you see that showing up in nutrition, Donna?
Well, it's that thrill of maybe this diet, okay? Maybe this recipe, maybe this superfood, okay, will finally fix me. I talked with a client just today who used to be on some type of apple diet, where all she ate was apples and some kind of protein. Maybe it was apples and chicken. I can't quite remember. But she's thinking, this is it. This is going to be the magic pill. But it's not just a personal thing, ends up being a cultural thing as well. We're sold this idea that health is something that we have to constantly chase, not something to live. I see it all the time. People think they're failing, or they feel like they have to go in some type of one-dimensional diet world, okay, when they're just stuck in the scarcity loop. The real magic happens when we shift from scarcity, what's missing, to what's already working. That's when food starts feeling like care, not control. And that's not just food. That's other aspects of our lives as well.
Really excellent points. Instead of can't eat carbs, try I can listen to what my body actually needs and already has. So one of the things I emphasize in therapy is that abundance isn't more stuff. It's what already nourishes us. Connection, rest, creativity, and giving ourselves permission to access that.
Absolutely. And that permission can revolve around having soup in bed, especially leftover turkey stew that I made this weekend. It was really good.
Yum.
Sometimes it's dancing in the kitchen with your dog, playing with your cat, braiding your daughter's hair.
Yes, or chocolate, because we know Donna prefers the 70% cacao or greater.
Yes, shameless plug for Alter Eco salted caramel truffles. Really, really good.
I'm a glutton for chocolate. So what's one small way you've seen people reclaim abundance in their lives? I think that's such a relatable place to start for listeners.
Yes, absolutely, Kate. And that's a groovy question. So one of the things to think about doing is practicing the pause. And we're going to be talking about this more in future episodes. But before you buy something, you eat something, you react to something potentially stressful, you want to take a deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Then ask yourself, do I really need this? Is this enough for me at this time? Do I really want to get into a potential confrontation with somebody, that may end up in an argument, that may end up making both of you feel bad? Number 2, creating a less list, picking one area of your life to simplify this upcoming week. Fewer tabs open on the computer, maybe turning your cell phone off for a period of time, tracking fewer foods, having fewer expectations for yourself. And number 3, nourish your gut like you'd nourish a friend. I'm big on the focus of fiber, rest, and joy, particularly fiber. Fiber's a real favorite with me because I notice quite a few of my clients don't really get enough fiber. It's one of the nutrients that I'd like to encourage for good health. So bringing it in means that you're going to have better bowel movements and you're just going to feel better overall. Because basically, you can't heal in hurry mode.
Yes, that's right. And I love how a lot of these, what you just mentioned, there's a overcross between mental health and nutrition. So maybe abundance isn't more things. It's more space between things. Mindful curiosity. From a mental health perspective, noticing where scarcity shows up for you is the first move towards stepping away from unhealthy habits. So start with curiosity and not judgment.
Absolutely. And if you all enjoyed this episode, share it with someone who's trying to do all the things and just needs permission to do less, which can mean more abundance. Mila Kunis's character in the movie Bad Mom says it best as she's addressing the crowd at the PTA meeting. She's basically saying, hey, it's okay to not know what you're doing. It's okay to take rest, give yourself a break, give yourself favor, and just do things that are fun and enjoyable to reduce your stress level.
Thank you for saying that, because as a mom, I have so many things on my plate, doing things all the time. I do need permission to say that and to feel that way. So thanks. Hit my soul in a way. We'll be diving deeper into the scarcity brain in future episodes, like how social media hijacks your dopamine and how to retrain your brain for contentment.
Oh, that's so beautifully said, Kate. So until then, may your brain feel full, your gut feel calm, and your less transfers into the new more, the new abundance in its purest form.
That's our new mantra. Thanks for watching, y'all. Take care.
See you again.